And welcome back to RJP Starcraft Casts for another game between none other than JH and GoldSCV, our very own two resident Koreans in the SCW Starcraft World League. And this time around, they're playing Zerg, and with color, the light gray Zerg, played by GoldSCV, up against the orange Terran, piloted by JH. And I'm going to speed up the early game just a little bit. Last game these two played, that I casted, had GoldSCV winning with a spot abuse being on spot number 1, which is the top left corner, up against JH on the middle right of the map. And that's always a position that's in favor of the Protoss or the Terran or whoever is on that top right spot above the other player. It's an uphill battle, but this time around we have a T versus Z, which is, in my opinion, the more balanced matchup, the most balanced matchup on fastest map, and it should be very interesting to see who is going to win, who is going to lose, and how. How are they going to win or lose? GoldSCV knows that there is Zerg. I assume he knows there's a Zerg, because he's scanning just the chokes. He's not scanning the bases themselves. So he knows he's looking for something in a choke. There he finds the hatchery, he finds a Sunken. Sunken is just being halfway done. The Zergling's gonna chase that Marine away, punish it for attacking the Sunken. And I'm gonna slow the game down again, because now the real game is gonna start. GoldSCV chasing those Marines around. Gonna try to take down some Marines. But Marine gets micro pretty well. SCV's helping out, taking down those Zerglings. Zerglings being unable to get any information on JH base. Single lone Marine there gets cut out. Zergling gets a kill. Now the Zergling is... JH is ignoring the Zergling. Alright, that's good. So it looks like a very fast gas for GoldSCV. He's going to get a lair up after he gets 100 gas. And then there's 2 hatcheries there. Lair is going to get started. Lair has started. He's kind of lowballing his choke at the moment. Only 2 Sunkens there, with a third one being morphed. GoldSCV does not have an academy yet. He's going to go for a late academy. He's going to go for a factory first, an early factory. So that's going to be an early tank push that he's going to get started on GoldSCV there. Keeping his Marines there inside the choke, just to prevent any creep colonies from being placed a little bit too far away from the other Sunkens, so we can focus it down. Also there to prevent Zerglings from leaving and scouting the map. So he's setting himself up for some control over GoldSCV. There's the second factory, so 2 factory push. And instead of building those factories on the middle, he's building them inside of his base. So it's going to take a little while for those tanks to arrive on location for the push itself. But it does mean that your factories are safer and not in harm's way in the case the Zerg goes for a way too early lurker push, or just manages to break out, or goes for a Muladisk micro. And let's see what GoldSCV is going to go for. Is he going to go for the Muladisk micro? There's the Queen's Nest, and that's the spot for the Spire, but he doesn't have minerals for a Spire. Now he does. Spire comes out on the other side. So we're going to be seeing some Muladisk micro, or either he might be going straight for the Hive. And he's deciding against pushing out his Sunkens deeper into the middle of the map. He's going to keep them all tightly and close to each other. There's already a starport coming out for JH. There is a tank has finished somewhere. No, tank is not finished. Just finished with the machine shop add-on. So siege mode is on the way. Siege tank itself is on the way. And what does he have here in the corner? Alright, so there's nothing in the corner there. He's just got an academy. Academy is upgrading stim. There are no medics. I mean, there are medics on the way. And I am sure he's going to try to deal a little bit of damage to this choke here by stimming his Marines in. Maybe take down a couple of these Sunkens. But if he loses those Marines, it's going to give GoldSCV the opportunity to use his Muladisks to deal some damage to JH. He's not gonna... Oh, he's gonna snipe that Overlord. That's a beautiful pickup. Beautiful pickup, but GoldSCV Does get supply stock eventually, right there. But he did manage to make the amount of muletisks that he needed, which is 9. 9 muletisks is the amount that he wanted. And here comes the slow push. He doesn't have any vision over... He doesn't have a building or a science vessel or anything to extend the vision over those sunguns. So those siege tanks have longer range to shoot on those sunguns. But now he's going to have to unsiege in order to progress. You can take down this one. Not sure if I can take down that one. Most of the time people make an engineering bay and hover it over the sunguns. And here comes the Mullis micro. Goes in, weaves out. He goes in, takes down at Marines. He's going to keep weaving in and out with that stack of Mullis. Get a couple of misclicks there. A couple of pulls off a little bit too early. But he is aiming and fishing for damage on those tanks. And the tank almost goes down. Tank. Ooh, he almost gets it. And he gets the tank. First tank goes down. He's going to try to go for a second tank. A single Mullis went down. But more mules are being added on. There's a very early Valkyrie out for JH. JH has completely figured out the anti-Mulisk build, which is basically just add in a Valkyrie, and then your Valkyries and Marines are gonna take down those Mulisks really quickly. But GoldSCV in return has found a counter to the Valkyrie, and which is a very simple answer, which is just 2 Scorches. You fly into the Valkyrie, and then you can resume your Mulisk micro harass on that push. It's gonna go for the Great Aspire. We're gonna be seeing lurkers as well. There's the there's no Defiler's mount. The Defiler's mount should be coming out very soon. Still weaving in and out with his Mulisks, but unable to find a good hit on those tanks. Good positioning on the Marines from JH. JH has a science facility out. He's not made a science vessel yet. He's still sticking to those Valkyries, which is a good choice because GoldSCV does have a lot of gas invested into those Mulisk, morphing them into Devourers and Guardians now. Scorch is in the mix as well. How many Guardians? 8 Guardians, and the rest are gonna be Devourers. Oh, it's just 2 Devourers actually. Why he sends them out into the fight. Gonna take down those tanks and Marines. Valkyries damage getting debuffed by those Devourers. Scorches take down the Valkyries. JH pulls back. And this is why he didn't build his factories on the middle, because GoldSCV can keep pushing here, which would then come at the cost of those factories being out in the middle. They'd be exposed. You're gonna have to lift them up, fly them back to your base, and the entire time that you're flying those back, you cannot make tanks, which gives the Zerg the opportunity to abuse their lurker swarm to push you in and break into your base and gain the upper hand over you. But given that JH has his tanks, his factors inside of his base, that's not an option for GoldSCV to pursue. JH adding a vessel into the mix, so you can start detecting those lurkers, but those lurkers are not yet there. The Father Mount did finish. 40 drones for GoldSCV against 50 SCVs for JH. JH is on a single add-on command center. Started adding on more factories to his base. His macro is on point here. Doing a good job of spending his minerals as quick as he can on the right things, the things that he needs. Because there's a difference on spending just spending your minerals and spending them on the things you need. Effective macro is better than just macro. Good split on those Guardians. He's gonna try to get those Scorches off on those Valkyries, but the Valkyries managed to fly away really prettily. Great job microing those Valkyries, but he does lose most of the Marines there in the front. Did clear out a couple of spores there. Great job from JH. But now that there's a fewer amount of Valkyries, so Valkyries are flying in to replenish the Valkyrie count. He does clear the tanks there on the low ground. He's gonna have to send that Devourer in really quickly and stop the damage from those Valkyries. No Scorches are out, but he does have the Filers out now. And 2 Lurkers there in the front. Consume is finished. Because I don't see it upgrading, so I assume it's finished. Circling speed is on the way. More Scorches are on the way as well. He's adding on more hatcheries. And mass. There's a lot of hatcheries there. There's a vision of the side there. Let's see. Valkyrie's still flying in. It's going to get a latch up on right over there. It's going to be very difficult for GoldSCV to kill those tanks there on the ledge. He's going to have to use those Guardians for it, but the tanks are protected from those Guardians by those Valkyries. It's going to take a while, because GoldSCV is losing his Overlords here. He's chasing down those Valkyries, but Valkyries get shot down by those Marines. Gets a shot off with the Devar, but Devar goes down as well. Still adding on to his base. He's on a total of 6 starports now, of which 1 is still on the way. And 5 factories. JH is one of those players who goes really heavy on the starports in the TVZ. A lot of players go very heavy on the factories. He's more of the starport player, going for Valkyries and vessels with a very low count of siege tanks. Which actually ends up against him in this specific scenario, because now those lurkers have no trouble getting in range under the swarm. The Guardians all did go down, but I think that GoldSCV can keep progressing with that lurker swarm. Well, there's no energy on that defiler. He's going to have to consume something very quickly so he can ensure the advancement deeper into GoldSCV's base, I mean into JH's base. Or well, into the middle of the map in this situation, and then into JH's base. JH still adding Valkyries, not adding vessels. I really don't like this choice. I prefer vessels personally, because then you can take down the defilers with the radiate. You can also go for abuse on the minerals. It looks like JH is just aiming to abuse those overlords and prevent any air from coming out for GoldSCV. He gets a pretty decent lurker swarm off there. Not in the range that he wanted, but he's gonna have to wait and see how long it takes for him to get new lurkers up so he can progress them deeper. He can progress them deeper right now, but he's paying attention elsewhere. These Valkyries are scouting the side spots, looking for overlords. He's gonna find an overlord there. Take down that poor overlord. Goodbye. It goes down so fast to these Valkyries. JH balling up a huge amount of tanks here on the middle. All produced from those 5 factories. Which is completely fine. You only need 5 factories or 6 factories as long as you don't waste your tanks. Which is what JH is doing. He's holding on to his tanks quite well. The fighter does not have energy for a swarm. But there's no vessel out, so pretty much he did get a bit of a plague off on those Valkyries. I do like that one. GoldSCV very slowly building onto his base, and 87 drones now getting quite big. He'll be able to keep crapping out masses of units very quickly, very soon. He's going to have to add on a little bit more supply space, which he just did. Overlords just finished up. He's going to have to build a lot of Hydralisks, Ultralisks now even. He's got both Ultralisk upgrades on the way. But those Ultralisk caverns are placed up pretty far ahead in his base, which might expose those Ultralisk caverns to those tanks if JH does manage to get in there. Those Marines manage to get in there, but they're gonna go down to the lurkers. Goodbye, Marines. Beautiful sacrifice for the sake of more supply space. And still stuck in a stalemate here. That's the beauty of Lurker Swarm, or the annoyance of Lurker Swarm. It really depends on your perspective on those Lurker Swarms. And he again goes in for the carpet ride. Radiate on the vessels, then fly him and rolling them over the drones. Ooh, he killed 40 drones there. That's a lot of dead drones. Wait, 50 dead drones there for GoldSCV. This is an absolute disaster, because now those... I do think he managed to get... He didn't manage to get Scorches up in time. So it looks like he's gonna keep losing his Overlords non-stop, because there's only ground melee units out for GoldSCV. GoldSCV trying to push out, but not really managing to gain much ground. But there's a lot of tanks there in the back, taking down those ground units. Now the fighter is going to go down as well to the radiate. More Zerglings and the Ultralisk moving out. He's going to get a swarm off before... No, it's the fighter died just before he could get the swarm off. But now he does get a swarm off on those tanks. Burrowing lurkers underneath. No, he's going to go for the next set of tanks. gets a swarm off, manages to move out. GoldSCV does manage to salvage the situation from losing so many drones. Although he didn't make any new ones. But he's gonna go for the attack here. This is actually looking really, really good for GoldSCV, because GoldSCV has a lot of ground units there that he's able to get in there. He's got a Defiler alive as well. He's gonna get a Dark Swarm off right there in the choke of JH, and JH has a very small number of tanks. He's lost all of his tanks in the middle there. And JH having only... JH lost all of his Overlords again, but he did manage to spawn a huge load of ground units just prior to losing those Overlords, but he does have 2 vessels sitting right on top of his drones. And those vessels might have energy very soon. Well, this is kind of a race against nutrition. Because will GoldSCV beautiful radiate on those vessels there in the front, hanging them in the path of where the Zerglings are going to walk through. A lot of Zerglings dying to those radiates. And this is pretty much game over for GoldSCV. GoldSCV has 10 drones. It's 30 supply. This game was going so well for GoldSCV there at the end. And then he just forgets to burrow 50 of his drones and dies, basically. Like, he just basically got one shot. There was nothing he could do there besides rolling over and dying. That was a really, really quick death. And I honestly want to advocate for some static spore defense, because some static spore defense could have really helped him out there. But he had no static spore defense whatsoever to help himself stay alive against those vessel runovers and Valkyrie Overlord harassments. Like, he had just melee units everywhere. There was nothing at all that could attack air, and that just completely backfired. And I don't know if JH abused that fact, if he was aware of it, or if he just went in guns blazing. But that worked out in JH favor really, really well. You can even see the huge amount of starports he has here. That's 8 and another 5. 13 starports in total. It was a really close call. Really, really close call. Because I do believe that if GoldSCV had managed to save his drones there, this would have been a win for GoldSCV. Because look at how much damage he did while being on just 20 drones. Or 35 drones, somewhere in between. At the end, even 10 drones. He had no overlords. So even without overlords, without income, he managed to deal this much damage to JH. JH was treading on a knife's edge there. If GoldSCV had taken a little bit more care of protecting his drones, he would have definitely won this game. So kind of sad to see, but it's just how it's meant to be. Gotta check on these kills. Ooh, 55 kills, 19 kills. There's another vessel there, 3 kills. So it just goes to show how many kills, how deadly a vessel can be in TVZ. Anyway, thanks for watching. A little bit of rambling there at the end. Hope you don't mind. The downside of Terran vs. Zerg, in my honest opinion, is always that they aren't the most eventful. Because of the Lurker Swarm, it's kind of a stalemated situation where nothing is happening. And before that, it is the Sun Guns that are preventing action. So it's a very technical matchup. But there's also not much action at all. Thanks for watching. Hope you come back for a new video the next time around. And I hope you enjoyed this one. And goodbye and good luck.